watching because he was black?
Pretty much, yeah. I will admit that. I love all things black. And so when I saw Tiger win, this man had just taken a space that, you had heard about golf. I had heard about golf. I knew about the sport. I had asked, when I was in junior high school, I asked one of the teachers, could I start to play? And he said, no, you can't. And I really left it at that. He literally said, no, you can't. And so I left it at that. I didn't really ask any more questions. I didn't feel like pushing the envelope. And I think in junior high, you just get distracted and go off and do something else.
Yeah.
So when Tiger won, and then I saw that golf was an option, that means no one can tell me I can't, because I'm paying for my credits. And
right.
I can pay for whatever I want. And so I took the class, and I noticed him because he won this very prestigious award, this competition, and he's like with Jordan, and people are comparing him to, he's a consummate athlete, and he's taking golf to another level, and that's what made me attracted to the sport.
I remember that weekend, and remember hearing, this guy we've been hearing about, who's killing it at Stanford, he's going into the Masters, and it's like, okay, we'll see. And then hearing, he's not just winning, he is destroying them. He is way far ahead of the field, wow, that really struck me. Not just the win, but killing. Lorenzo, when did your golf journey start?
Probably about 15 years ago. My kids were getting older, they were out of the house. It was just me and the wife in the house, and I figured something I need to do on the weekend. So a buddy of mine lived next door to me. He wanted to get into golf. He was much younger, and his kids were younger. So I said, listen, let's just go out together and play some golf. So we started going to Marine Park to play some golf. And we just both got the bug, and we've just been playing golf ever since.
Yeah. So what about you, Deborah? Where did you start to
That was 18 years ago when I was working at Business Week magazine. Yep, I was in the events department, and my boss would always be invited to all these golf outings and tournaments, and the invitations would come in on my desk. I'd get over the wrong mail, give it to her. She'd go out away to these golf tournaments. She'd come back, she'd have a stack of business cards that she wanted me to put into a database. And it was really good because her sales went up, her productivity went up. So when I opened my business and I started getting these invitations from golf tournaments, I'm like, I do remember this could be good for business. And it was. I went to Vegas, played my first tournament after taking some lessons, of course. And I came back with a stack of business cards.
And why is golf in particular so good for business? Because there's a lot of downtime in the midst of playing?
Yep, that's one reason. And you're on that course 4 hours, 4.5 hours with a couple of people that you begin to become like family with. Time to talk about everything under the sun in between the rounds.
Yeah. Has it been part of your journey as a lawyer? Has it helped you move up?
Absolutely. When I first started as an attorney, a trial attorney, I'd go into court, I'm a young attorney, and I'd see guys talking with the judges, talking with other lawyers, senior people that knew the judges well. Now, playing golf, I'm that guy now who knows the judges, who knows the senior attorneys, and that's all part of playing golf, going to tournaments where lawyers go, going to tournaments where the judges go. They know me on a first name basis. They don't say counsel, say Lorenzo, how are you? And so golf is just an important business tool. It's an important social tool as well, without question.
LJ, talk to me about what is your favorite part of it? Is it the drive, putting? Is there one particular part of it that you love more than the others?
So I'll guiltily admit the 19th hole when it's all done sometimes. That's my favorite part. I think the first tee, because people will see you, they judge you. Even in this room, I can't tell who the golfer is and who isn't. And I think when I arrive on the first tee, there's all kinds of assumptions being made about me before I hit the ball. And when I hit it, I feel like, usually it goes where I want it to go. So I break down maybe around the 9th hole, but the first hole is the showtime hole, and I think that that's probably my favorite time because I can show it and send it straight down the fairway.
And let people know, I'm not playing around.
Right, exactly.
I'm serious. What is your favorite part, Lorenzo?
Without question, the perfect drive is the best part of golf. When you hit that drive and it goes straight down the fairway and you can barely see it at the end, and you just striked it perfectly, that's the shot that keeps you coming back playing golf. Without question.
What about you?
Yeah, that would be mine as well. I was third in the city throwing the discus on the track team in high school. And my golf trainer told me, wow, that's what really has given you this natural golf swing. I'm like, really? So I usually win longest drive at the tournaments. I won so many of the longest drive.
How long are you driving?
Not that far. It's just that I guess I'm the longest one with the women that are there.
your favorites on the tour? You can go first.
I would say, wow. You know, my favorites are really the older golfers. They used to be there that really didn't get the opportunity to showcase their skills.
Okay.
Charlie Sifford, Lee Elder, and I'm still hoping that they'll put Lee in the Hall of Fame by himself, but it looks like they might want to pair him with another golfer and do two at the same time. But currently, of course, it would be Cameron. I like him. I do like him.
What about you?
You know, I like Tiger. I like the fact that he was able to go through what he did in life, to hit that low point that he did, and then to come back and win the Masters. And when he won the PGA, I believe it was last year, and you saw that crowd that swarmed him, that was like Arnie's Army way back in the day, where the crowds would come and they would swarm the player. That was something that was just totally surreal. So what he's done for golf, and I was a guy when I was coming up, golf to me was an older white man's sport when I was a kid. I grew up in Brooklyn, basketball, football, that's our thing.
Right.
But he opened my eyes to being able to play golf, and it's just amazing. So yeah, he's one of my favorite players because of what he's done for the sport.
LJ, what about you?
So I'm always gonna love Tiger, even if he doesn't accept his black side as much as I would like him to. However, I will say I am tracking Harold Varner now,
Okay.
the third, the HB3. I'm following him on Instagram. I'm just kind of keeping track, but I like watching him.
I was like Rory McIlroy. There's
I like
something
Rory.
kind of badass about him. I like Greg Norman. I always like Phil Mickelson. He seems very cool.
Dustin Johnson. Let me add Dustin Johnson.
Okay,
I
okay.
like watching him too.
He's got a
I
swagger.
think
Yeah, he
that,
does.
I think that folks who don't play are not fully aware of how athletic it is, because it seems to be everyone thinks like, well, I can do that. Like it's just walking around whacking the ball. I'm like, no, it's much more of an athletic challenge than that, right? Are non-golfers not really fully aware? I mean, you can sort of remember when you were a non-golfer.
Sure.
Like, did you misunderstand how athletic it is?
Without a doubt, I misunderstood because I figured, you know, there's a ball sitting there, you just hit it, and that's it. But if you're playing golf, and especially if you're walking the course, it is just unbelievable. A few years ago, when they played one of the tournaments out at Bethpage Black, and all I was doing was just simply following behind Tiger. I'm not carrying a bag, I'm not hitting a ball. I'm exhausted by the end. I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to the 18th hole. I'll wait for them to come to me. And, it requires effort to play the game of golf, particularly if you're walking.
Yeah. Has Tiger made a big difference for a lot of black and brown people? Like, has he brought others into the sport, do you think?
Totally. I think when he won, there was just an influx of black players that were curious about the game, that were willing to try it, and when you look at the numbers now, there aren't as many people attracted to the game the way that they were when he was there. It was phenomenal to watch him, it was phenomenal to replicate and just try to mimic him. And we don't really have that. Like I was with some kids last week and I said, everyone loves Tiger Woods, and one of the kids like mortified. I was mortified. He said, "Who is Tiger Woods?" I almost fell over. But that is just where we are right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that. And I mean, you know, you can blame the media, and we don't really, you know, we have the Burt who tells our stories. But when you think about black media and being able to like celebrate black golfers, there really isn't a forum outside of that.
Yeah.
And so kids aren't going to know, like they might know Steph Curry plays, maybe.
Right. Lorenzo started talking about the sort of epic journey of Tiger, right? You think about, you know, Nicholson, Homer, like they played golf. They won, they lost, and that, you know. But he's had this epic, almost Greek mythology journey through his life that we've all witnessed. What do you think about where, like, what do we think about him now? He's more than just a golfer. He's a global figure. He's also somebody who's been up and down and back up again. Like, what do you think about him as a total figure?
I mean, he's more personalized now. He's a person now. Before he was just this iconic golfer, and all he cared about is, I'm going to win this particular tournament. He didn't talk to fans. He didn't say anything. When he would walk past the fan, he wouldn't shake hands. But now, he'll slap five, he'll walk, talk with the fans. And so he's more now relatable as a human being. But the important thing that I find about Tiger is that he brought everyone into golf. There really is a Tiger effect, where people who are not interested, my wife, she's never swung a golf club in her life, but she loves to watch golf, to watch Tiger play.
Yeah.
She loves to watch Dustin Johnson play. These are guys who are also inspired by Tiger. So I appreciate what he's done for the sport itself.
Yeah. What do you think about the the overall life journey of Tiger that we've all watched?
Yeah, he's human, you know, he is human. We've seen him go through the ups and downs in life and with his family and professionally and with his health. He's getting older now, he's pulling back a little bit. He does have his foundation that still continues to serve some of the youth. He gets a lot of criticism because he doesn't come to our community all the time. But I think, you know, he's done a great thing for the sport. I was attracted to him, you know, watching the game of golf before I played.
I mean, both of you have mentioned that he's not as down for the cause as we would like. Are we, and not disagreeing with that, but are we putting an expectation on him that he does not have for himself?
I would say yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, I mean, and again, I mean, my perspective is live your life your way.
Yeah.
So however Tiger chooses to live his life, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
You know, whether or not he's with our community, which I prefer that he would be, but he chooses to live the way he wants to live. So I'm fine with anyone living how their journey tells them this is how I want to proceed.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. You know, it's a little discouraging because so many of us look up to him,
Yeah.
and then he's not looking back at us, you know, but, you know, I agree.
Where's the next black star? I mean, like, you know, we could look at, say, tennis, and like, here's Venus and Serena, and here's other black women coming after them, there's some black men trying to follow Arthur Ashe and them. Like, where's the next black star of golf?
Directing that question to me.
Okay.
No, that's like a very controversial question. It's like, why are we always looking for one celebrity? Like, where's the next one black leader? And where's the next one? Like, we could have a lot of
Sure.
excellent black golfers, and I think it's for us to be able to recognize that there's a lot of talent in our community that can be cultivated and grown if given the right support and attention.
So where are they?
They're on that
They're on the Advocates Tour.
Right, I was gonna say they're on the other
They're on
tour.
the other tour.
Not
Okay.
in
The
PGA
Advocates
sponsorship.
Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are fantastic. They play an annual schedule. They're out there now doing some of the pro courses, and they've got some funding. The PGA is finally giving them some money, and they're being more exposed to the better courses. Be prepared
I
to
mean,
play.
is the PGA, probably no, but is the PGA doing enough to make sure that we reach out to people who have not traditionally been able to play golf and make sure that they have some inroads, people who did not have a father or grandfather who played the game? Are they reaching out?
No, hell no.
No.
Do they care?
They reach out enough to say, oh, it's Black History Month. Let's feature Harold Varner in a commercial.
Right.
That's it.
I mean, do they not understand? There is an extraordinary pool of athletes here. A lot of them are going into the other sports.
Yeah.
If you just get some of them coming into golf, that would be great for golf.
And great for money for the black golfers and their families in our communities.
Yeah.
And that would take away money from their caddies, their white players. They wouldn't get as much. Of course, we're good if we're given a chance. But we now have to be twice as good and have twice as many deep pockets.
We see Steph Curry donating to Howard. Do you think that's going to make some difference, LJ?
I think it's exciting. Well, first, there are multiple aspects of that. It's unfortunate that a school like Howard didn't already have a strong HBCU program. I think that's the first concern. It's exciting because he's bringing attention to it, but it's going to attract more golfers if they are recruiting black golfers. So now let's go back into what happens in these moments. The golf coach, if they're responsible or irresponsible, depending on what we're saying here, they can recruit whoever they want. And the minority at HBCU will be the white person. And so when you think about what the requirement is for that golf team, then that's the question that we need to ask. Are we also, aside from having the golf team at the HBCU, recruiting the talent that looks like the community that's being served by this academic institution? Same thing for University of Maryland at Eastern Shore. They have a PGA program, like where they're actually producing a number of black PGA pros, but it's really on the coach and the leadership to be held accountable to recruit people that look like and are of color.
Of course, I want to see more black and brown people playing on Sunday, but when you think about a sport that is so critical for having business success and moving up in a Fortune 500 context, a school like Howard, which clearly cares about people succeeding, should be caring deeply about, like, let's make sure they know how to play golf, so when they get into Xerox or whatever, they can move up, because golf is a critical part of that.
I mean, golf, there needs to be almost a cultural change within our community, because a lot of our young kids, it's basketball, it's football. golf is not the sexy sport typically for the young black athlete.
Right.
That's something for older people to play very often. I talk with young attorneys, young African American attorneys. Listen, you've got to get into golf. You've got to play golf. Not really, I don't want to do that just yet. So we need to make golf something that's more interesting and more attractive to the young black players.
Just because it's a critical part of moving up in your career.
Without question. Without question. I mean, you get to know, there are many people that I've met that I never would have met had it not been for golf. Really good people, business opportunities that I've received because of golf. I didn't go into it for that purpose,
Right.
But with any human endeavor, there's going to be networking that goes on, and golf is just tailor-made for networking, so it's one of the best things to do.
I mean, it's great for networking for certain things, right? We know, like, for C-suite folks, for lawyers, for certain business folks, it's important. Like, we're in publishing and media. Is it the same?
It is the same all around, and the networking does start at the collegiate level. But now a lot of these HBCU colleges are not black students on the golf teams. They even changed the name of the National Minority Collegiate Golf Championship because white teams were winning from the HBCUs. So now they've changed the name.
What did they change it to?
PGA Minority, no, the National Golf Championship or something. I can't think right now.
I mean,
Yeah, they changed the name about 2 years ago.
there's always a couple white people at the Howards and the Morehouses, but wouldn't expect the whole
All
team
white
of
golf
them.
team winning the National Minority Collegiate.
Wow. Do folks have any question they want to get to talk to the panel about, or just throw out issues they want to throw out?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, just. Yeah, you can go next, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir. You got it first.
You were just talking about kids maybe not seeing golf but there's so much in golf for youngsters in terms of risk rate. There's a lot to learn just being on the course. So your advantage, it's a clear advantage for a lot of business people. You get to meet fellow business associates, you exchange cards. For a youngster starting off, there's a lot there to learn. Risk reward, how do you manage yourself, golf etiquette, just
Character.
being courteous to the other players and other people around you. Maybe not yelling something out when someone is trying. Once you bring that to your consciousness, then it just expands how you see so many things in life. In terms of Tiger opened doors for me to play.
Mhm.
I watched him just like you did. It was just like, it's must-see TV, and I would listen to the fan at the time. I used to drive maybe 30 miles back and forth to work, and whenever he played, the radio was dominated by, I couldn't get enough. So then I took up the game. I had no one to take me onto the course. I was just telling this fellow here, I spent 3 years with a starter set of golf clubs at Marine Park, just smacking it back and forth. Never got any coaching. And then I realized I'm doing a lot of things wrong. So I said, I like this game, so let me just get everything right from the start.
Mhm.
It was hell to undo all of the bad habits that I learned, and then I just can't give it up. My wife spoils me. It's just fun. It's the greatest thing ever.
I mean, I love the point because you make me think too about the self-control that golf requires. Because ultimately, you are playing against yourself, and you have to discipline your body. You have to respond to your mistakes in the proper way, so you can continue to be successful and effective. And it's a personal, internal
You have to
challenge.
be honest. You have to know
Yeah.
when you have a stroke against you and not say, "Oh, I didn't see that," or "It's a gimme."
It's a mulligan.
It's the mulligan.
And controlling your emotions too.
Sure, right?
Who wouldn't need the youngster to
Sure.
develop those skills?
Sure, and many folks think that golf is primarily physical, it's primarily mental.
Right.
Because if you hit a stroke, like I've done many times, and I'm upset about that particular stroke, 3 holes later, I'm still bothered by it.
Yeah.
And by then,
It's hurting you.
it's over.
As long as you
By
hold
then
on
it's
to
over.
it,
Right.
your score is getting.
Sir, you had a question?
Yeah.
Or a point?
Yeah, so my question pertains to, as far as gaining exposure and scale to this younger demographic where you're trying to attract, how much are you using social media to convey this message?
I mean, social media is the engine for pretty much most marketing these days. If you can get kids out, well, kids are on social media. What needs to happen is the content of golf needs to be streamed to them, needs to be shown to them, and we have to get them interested. But again, it's a difficult thing to do only because golf is just for our kids, not the dominant sport they grew up with. And there's still a legacy with respect to golf, because it was 1961 when they removed the Caucasian-only clause in the PGA. That's not that long ago.
No.
That's after I was born, so therefore that's within my lifetime that we could not officially play golf. The NNGA, which is a group that I'm a part of, that got started in 1965. It was supposed to get started in Hershey, Pennsylvania, but it couldn't get started there because it wouldn't allow them to play there. They had to move to Lebanon, Pennsylvania, because they said, okay, we'll allow you to play. So there is still a legacy that lives on in golf that is systemic, that makes it difficult for young black kids to say, you know what, this is what I want to do, because typically they don't see the best at this looking like them. So it's difficult to do. They see the Steph Currys and the LeBrons, that's what they want to do.
So just to follow up on that, so given that, so how do you convey that message so that it's not seen as something that's just a current trend, and that it's something long-term sustainable that will benefit them throughout? Like, what is that message, I guess?
You have to, I suppose you have to be relentless with it. You have to keep telling them, listen, this is what you can do. And we, as people, go out there and show, listen, I'm an attorney, I'm this, I'm a publisher, whatever the case might be, and I play golf. And I play, the golf club that I'm a part of, they're all black, okay? And when they see that we have a group of black men out there playing golf, it's like, you know what? This is not bad. So they need to see us doing it, not just simply us telling them to do it.
I mean, I like that chime in on that. So it's definitely social media. So I'm always on social media, and I try to like highlight and focus on some of the other people that are posting content, because there are a lot of young influencers that are posting golf related content, as well as celebrities. So also being aware of that and making sure that kids are aware of it. I had founded Final Life Golf, which is a nonprofit to teach inner city kids golf. But my goal wasn't to try to make the next Tiger Woods. My goal was just to provide exposure. So all we do is pop-ups throughout the city and pop-ups and find different like groups of children and bring them to places where golf is. So like last week, I brought 40 kids from the Harlem Boys and Girls Club to 5-iron golf, just so they could see golf. And then I had friends of mine, well, what happened, they hustled me out of some pizza because they had this competition. No, because at first they weren't, so you have to pay attention to what's happening. I brought the kids to 5-iron. Golf was hard. They were struggling, they were frustrated, and they were going through like all the motions that we go through as golfers, except that they have the child's expectation to be excellent. Actually, adults have that expectation as well, to just be excellent with the first swing. And so they were getting frustrated, and one of the girls that worked there, she didn't know how to play golf, but she worked there. And so she let them play dodgeball. And I was like, oh no, you guys can play dodgeball. Because they had like the simulator, it was technology, it was cool, they were throwing it, they were teams. I was like, oh no, we did not come all the way out here for you to play dodgeball. Because you can play dodgeball in the street, you can't golf in the street. So they were like, oh, they were so upset. I said, all right, fine. Are we ready to go home? Because you can play dodgeball on the block. And they're like, no. I said, okay, great. How about we do a competition, and whoever wins, we get pizza. And in the end, I ended up going to their place the next day to buy them pizza because, like,
Because they won.
because they calmed down to really sit and compete and really work on their swing. So it's about representation. And like when I do the summer program, believe me, I am going to reach out to All Access Golf, because what we do is try to get people from the neighborhood and communities to volunteer so that they can tell their story. Like, I don't want the golf professional teaching the kids because they're not going to relate per se. But the person that had a job that is just playing for fun, I want you to talk to the kid. I want the child to see you in that space, to be able to say, yeah, I just came in here on Saturday because you're here. And they're like, well, you play? Yes. And so you'll have a natural conversation. So it's us inserting ourselves into spaces that might be inconvenient so that they can see us. Because you can't be what you don't see.
Deb, same to you, how do we get more black and brown people into the game?
Yeah, that's important because the fastest growing segment in golf is black women. Yeah, so black women now are retiring, the semi-retirees, they're playing 9 holes, 18 holes, and they're the fastest growing segment of wanting to learn the game. A lot of social activities happen, travel programs. Speaking of which, I have some magazines here on our trip to India. Once women start playing the game, they have a great time. It's a healthy game that you can play for life. The one thing with children is that you have to get them to the course. It's not a game you can play in the street. You can introduce them to the game, say in the gymnasium of a school with the clubs, But getting them out to the course has always been the main problem once they're interested. Who's gonna take them? How are they gonna get there? Sometimes the fees are only $5, but how are they gonna get 30 miles out to the course? So that's been a problem for young people getting involved.
So I have so many thoughts in my head because I spent so many years in nonprofit working with these kids, and at one point even trying to take my students to a golf course, which posed all of the problems that you mentioned. For example, getting them out there. Well, I did have funding to bust them out there. The two biggest problems that I encountered was one, the school and the district understanding the benefits of golf for the students. So right now you have this kind of push where it's like we need things to work with our students that have trouble sitting still or that have trouble learning, and so they have them doing things now like there's a push to put crocheting in school. There's a push to put playing the guitar in school. There's a push to put yoga in the classroom. And the reason they're doing all of these things is because of all the benefits that you had mentioned, right? So now that there's a universal push across the board and media is giving attention to this, I mean, I hear these things when I watch the news. Oh, look at this school. They have 20 kids that are crocheting to help them do whatever in these urban neighborhoods, you know. And so they talk about it. And so I think that's one of the things is that I have not come across a program that came to me with an outline that literally mapped out, this is the program, these are the benefits, this is proven, this psychologist said this test said this, and that's where people that were in my industry, that is where they give their money to. They have something in writing that says, look at this. I was never able to receive that. But on the flip side of that, and this is my question, how many golf courses are owned by minorities? I really don't know because I don't play golf. But I feel like if some of the places that we're going were owned by minorities, they might see the value of bringing the kids out there a little more. Because I've also been to golf courses or worked with programs where the owners were not minorities. And when I told the parents, I want to take your kids to play golf, every single parent was like, hell yeah. And it was so easy because they automatically understood the value proposition. And not only did one kid brought his own golf clubs. And it was the parents were like, you need me to carpool? What's up? So just, yeah, how many golf courses are owned by minorities? And
we have a list online of the African American owned courses. There are like 5 of them now. One just went out of business, but then
In
there's
the
another
country
guy
or in the tri-state?
in the country. Yeah, 5. And we've got a program called Play the African American Golf Trail. So if you play all 5 courses, we give you a certificate to support the black courses. And then there's a guy in New Jersey who runs a program for autistic kids. He's a black guy, a pro trainer, and he has a program for autistic children that is for golf. So there are a couple of those pros that work with special needs children too, black pros.
I'd also like to just add, I think where you're trying to find the value proposition from our communities, it might not be there. And the programs that I've seen work really well in schools, the teachers were pushing it. Like when there were 2 programs I did in Brooklyn. One, the principal, he liked to golf, so he made sure that we were working with his kids who failed gym on Saturday mornings. He made them get up and then we were teaching them golf. So that's why that program worked. And then those kids were okay. And then I got them to sponsorship to go to the Barclays tournament at that time. It's not called the Barclays, it's called the Northern Trust now. But it was the teachers and the students didn't know any better and the parents didn't care. But the teachers and the principal, they believed in it. And when I went to another school, the teacher, he volunteered every Saturday morning with me. And I asked, well, why are you here? He's like, because I like golf and I think it's important for them to be here. Because he wasn't getting paid, he wasn't getting overtime, and he was just there. So the value comes from the people that are advocating to ensure those kids get there despite the fact that no one else knows that it's valuable.
Sir, you have any questions? Go ahead, I think you want to get on this issue, so go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to expand on the comment that you made as far as you can't be what you can't see. And I think that's very powerful. So I was doing a research one time about kids, what's the determining factor on kids going to college. So the 3 choices was neighborhood, finance, and if their parents went to college. and it was if the parents went to college. So that's to build on you can't be what you can't see. So now us as parents and people who want to get young kids involved, yeah, social media is a powerful tool, but we have to expose them to that. We have to bring them to the course. So I was reading an article about, and Tiger Woods has done this also, about making certain golf courses where it's family oriented. It's not just a golf course, it's a salon, or it's a little shopping area or whatever, and an amusement park to bring the kids there as well. So maybe they're not playing golf that day, but they have a memory as a 5-year-old, as a 6-year-old. Yeah, my parents took me to the golf course, and that's how they got interested as well. Other courses, other companies are doing that, following that same model, as to make it a family, because for the most part, you know, and from a guy's point of view, it's I want to play golf to get out of the house. And they're not including anybody else, whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, significant other, or your kids. So that's one way. And things like Top Golf, where like a simulator is, you know, it's more technical, and you know, like a place like Top Golf is a place where you can have a game already built in with a family experience. So that's how you get the younger kids involved. Let's be the model. Let them see you play golf. They see you listen to music, they see what you eat, they see what you wear, they follow that. So if you are a representative of golf, bring them in.
That's a good point. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. First, I want to say thank you for having us. Let's begin there. The Orlando Minority Youth Golf Association, run by Dr. T.J. Dorsey, one of the best unknown funnels for kids going to HBCUs getting golf scholarships. He doesn't get enough credit nationally for what he's done at the local level. The fact that the First Tee program tried to put him out of business and just do everything to impede his own growth for what he chose to do. And the man's a dentist, so he's not
Took his own money,
his own
invested
money.
everything
Yes.
in those children. Has
Yes.
the program been running like 15 years
Yes.
now?
Yes.
Got
He
Dr.
sent a
Dorsey
lot
down in
of
Florida.
kids to
And
college.
the PGA doesn't support him like they should either. So
Not at all.
he has the money, the resources, and he used it to help the kids.
Most definitely.
Well, how did you hear about his program?
So I'm gonna get to that. It's a great question, LJ. So you and I were next to each other at the PGA Diversity Summit this year.
Oh, okay.
All right. So my background, I'm born and raised in the state of Rhode Island. Have traveled around the country for the last 17 years as a golf instructor. I own my own golf academy in Rhode Island right now. So I met Doc when I was a sales rep for Adams Golf covering Vero Beach to the Keys, and I was introduced to him when he was in Orlando. So I would donate product to his foundation to help the kids play golf. So I've known Doc for almost 20 years now. Fast forward now, I am back in my home state, and I am the only person of color to ever own a golf academy in Rhode Island. The only black to ever be in a private country club as an assistant golf professional. So when we talk diversity, my home state of Rhode Island is so far behind the times I can't even begin to explain it. Playing your golf course today, they talked about Marina Park. They talked very highly about the diversity that is over there. So to meet you, to listen to you talk about playing golf there, that's joy to my ears. If you know Rhode Island golf, Buttonhole was founded by Brad Faxon and Billy Andre. It's supposed to be for minorities, but the kids can't get there.
Yeah.
It's too far to go. They can't walk it. Our parents are not going to get us there. As a kid who grew up playing baseball, my dad and my brother and sister, we had to ride our bikes to our baseball games. My dad didn't drop us off. He never had that kind of time. So golf is that next level of your parents can't get you there. So the diversity that we want to infuse into the game can't be there because the parents don't have the time to get the kids there. And that's just, that I find to be the ongoing problem with the growth of the game. We can say it, but if you don't have a means to get the kids there, then there's just no way to grow the game.
That's a good point. Go ahead, sir. What's that? Yes, please.
How many people in the room actually golf? I'm just curious to know, like, who's in the room. Okay, that's a lot of people.
Everybody.
Golf? I recognize you.
Yeah, a little bit.
I recognize. You know where I recognize him from?
Tiger.
Social media.
Yep. Yep, Tiger.
Talk about that in a minute. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I've caddied at Quaker Ridge Golf Course as far as in New York for over 20 years. It's a very prestigious course. It's right across the street from Wingfoot Golf Course by the same designer. I've been there since 1997. Tiger was Jackie Robinson. We were literally caddying on the golf course when he was going low on the score, and we didn't have obviously television, so we're like yelling across the fairway. He's at 500, he's at 700. It was crazy. And I remember before that tournament, members were talking about this young black kid who could hit it over 300 yards because he had the mindset for the short game and everything that comes along with it.
Quarterbacks too, right?
And, yeah, quarterbacks. Looking back, it was just incredible. So fast forward, membership has gotten younger there. I call it, it's the bro culture now. It's young financial guys. The older guys are kind of like, whatever, they're retired or whatever. But now I got pulled in by another buddy of mine who's a caddy into the golf simulator space, just similar to you. And I've worked at places in Manhattan. There's a place called Golf Manhattan or whatever. But it's the same young bro financial crowd. I literally, this is why I like guiding person. I literally just came from a business meeting to pitch someone to open basically a black indoor simulator space. And I would love to network with anyone in here. I'm just putting it out there to do this. I want to work with you. I want to work with I will donate my time. I'll put up my own, I don't care. I want this game to be, it's so important, like you were saying, for the mindset of young kids, for older folks, for everybody, really. I mean, it's a game of, the reason they kept this game away from us is because it benefits us, not just from a networking standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint. I don't want to get too deep about it, but everyone that plays the game knows how important it is. Not only are you going against yourself, but you're going against the elements.
Yeah.
You're fighting, God within the dark. So anyway, so all that to say is, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. All that to say is, yeah, golf is amazing. It's a great game. It's a great game.
I don't have a long-winded story about golf. I just got into it a couple of years ago. But what I can say, I was raised down south in Tennessee, North Carolina. So, railroad track, whites live over here, blacks live over here. Up the black for me was an all-black school, K through 12. My mother and my aunts and uncles went to. When I got older, I was bused across the railroad track to the white school. I was one of the first kids to be bused over there to the white school. I was raised with these white kids. I'll see them during the day when we got drunk. I'm busting back home to see them. So there's a golf course in the city near me, Weldon, Chakiak Golf Course that we would drive past, but blacks were not. We were not. Golf was never even a thing. And we had a golf team in my high school, which all were high school golf team. None of us ever played golf because no one could afford to even buy clubs. No one was about golf. Basketball, you just pick a basketball, go to the court. Football, baseball, softball, boom. Golf was never even a sport where you thought you could make money in for the black kids. So when I play golf, I can be a professional golfer, I can make all this money like a professional basketball player, be on TV the whole nine. There wasn't none of that going on in the mindset of black, my generation. I'm 50-something, my generation. So when we talk about it now, it's great to talk about it, but the social media aspect of it too really quick. These kids don't even go outside. They don't even want to go outside. Their whole life is freaking phone right here and everything else. So we can talk about getting the kids out there, social media. These kids worrying about what Jay-Z doing, everybody else is doing with music and everything else. They're not worried about, I'll only sound kind of negative, they're not thinking about golf. And I didn't think about golf until I got older and I couldn't do what I used to do. I couldn't move the way I used to move. So my friends have been trying to get me to play golf for 10 years. I wouldn't play golf. I was still trying to do Tough Mudders and all this crazy mess I was doing until I got injured. And I couldn't do it no more. So I'm gonna play golf because I thought it was easy. I thought golf was so easy. Just when you stand iron club, hit that ball, good to go. You practice a little bit, you can hit it straight. The first time I went out, I'll be finished. First time I went out, I got humiliated because I talked so much junk for one of my buddies. I talked so much junk. Went to a range in Maryland. I'm talking junk to my buddies who play golf. I just talked to all you guys, please. Golf thing, get out of here. I was ex-Marine. Okay, get a white ball. Let's watch it. Put a white ball down. I get a club. That's when I miss it. Okay, what? So put it on the tee. I can hit give me the tee and the driver. That's gonna be easy. I kept hitting the ball to the right, to the left, up in the air, all over the place. I swung about 100 times. I'm sweating. I'm just so frustrated. I break the club in half. I pay for the club from the shop. After that, I was hooked. It's done. It's done. I came back to New York from that trip. I bought me a set of clubs. I was playing golf in the wintertime at this range in Staten Island. Only person out there, I was swinging that club. Did not know how to, but I kept swinging the club, swinging the club. I lost 20 pounds in the wintertime swinging that club. Listen to this. I used to be like working out. I stopped lifting, or somebody's got a story. I stopped lifting weights. I said, I'm gonna become a golfer. Because this is not gonna get me, not this golf. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is ridiculous. Because I go out and play with these white cats. And they're hitting the ball straight, further than me. Like, get the freak out of here. This is crazy. White cats not hit the ball further than me, play ball. I'm an athlete. I fell in love with it. I am now addicted to this game. I played with Pierre, my man right here. We played this Saturday in Marine Park. Freezing. Yeah. It was cold. We don't care.
Are you good now?
My handicap's about, we had a bad day. My handicap's between the 15 and about 12. Well, I get down. I play whatever. It was over 50 degrees. I'll suck my man right here. He knows. We will play. I'll play.
So I'm glad you prefaced it.
I love this.
I know People are asking them, everyone said, you got a question, and people tell them a story. I said, what's going on with these people? And I figured out because we love golf, we can't help ourselves.
I do have something to add. I have this magazine, the Met Golfer, which is the publication from the MGA. It's February and March's edition, 2020, and it has a very, very interesting article about black golfers and their history. It's called A League of Their Own. It talks about John Shippen, Charlie Sifford, and Renee Powell. So it's a good read for anybody that's interested. This is my copy, but the name of it is the Met Golfer, the MGA publication, February 2020.
They do have that article. Black History Month. You won't hardly find any other black article.
Who wrote the article?
That'll be it.
Just give me one second. Pete McDaniel.
Say no more.
Pete McDaniel wrote.
Want to get in?
Yeah, I just wanted to add. Obviously, I'm not a golfer.
Get out of
Well,
This is an inclusive culture. This is inclusive.
what I wanted to really point out is I remember 13 years ago when I graduated, I started working in investment banking. And the first thing my managing director said, you need to learn how to play golf, right? Obviously, 22-year-old kid coming out of school. I've never been exposed to golf, but I like golf because Tiger was winning. That's the only thing I knew about golf, right? I never tried to understand it until I noticed that it was more for business purposes, right? Or networking. So the challenge that I found the last 13 years to actually embrace it as a particular sport is because of the perception around golf. It's for rich people, it's for people of money. Even within my community, it's always successful people that plays golf. So when I have my good friend Kelly, who's so passionate about golf, like when he talks about it, I'm very interested, but I still struggle with the perception. And when I talk with my fellow black friends around my age group, that perception is still there, right? So it's actually great to it's great to. This is the first time I'm actually seeing a lot of passionate black people about golf. I usually see one or two people, usually passionate, but I follow the social media. To me, it doesn't hit home because that's not what I see around me. I lived in Brooklyn for a long time. I walk by the Marine Golf. I have my white friends at work. They talk about going to Marine Golf. But for me, until I'm able to break that perception and allow people around me to know it's not just a rich person sport. Because now they say, yeah, I see the black people, but those are the successful people. Like, I'm just a regular guy that lives, Crown Heights. That's not for me. The basketball is for me. The football is for me. Those are where I see people like myself. So how do you, in your position now, kind of step it down in a way where people feel that it shouldn't really be just about networking. It shouldn't really be, because this is the first time I'm hearing about those other aspects of golf, which what I juxtapose it to is I love tennis and I play tennis. for me, when I saw Serena's sister, and I learned the story that it was their father that invested in them as opposed to going to those Florida clubs and all that, that resonated with me, and I got other people to want to be part of it because we all can share that story. So what I'm asking and what I'm saying
I think
is,
the lady wants to respond to your question.
okay.
I want to respond because my mother, who worked at Honeywell as factory worker, my father was a janitor. So it's not just for the beach.
No, I'm saying that it's a perception that we have.
So I think we both have a comment on perception, right? Like black people weren't perceived to be smart. Like, what do we do with perceptions? If I see that the rich people are playing, well, I'm going to be rich, so I'm going to play too. Like, I might not be. I'm gonna be every place where I see an opportunity for me to grow into that space, because I want to know what they're doing so that I can be there. Because I know that little Johnny's not that smart. So why is he playing golf with the boss? I want to play there. And so I think it's more about how do we open our minds to looking at the opportunities that we're not including ourselves because we created this perception. How many things, like when we were growing up, were not cool, and now all those not cool people, they have like all the good jobs, and all those cool people, like they're right there on the block that I left them on. So I don't really know how to navigate that part.
I'm not saying,
My
no,
direct
for me,
response is, perception be damned, really. Really. Forget about perception. If this is something, you should just try different things. And it doesn't make a difference what the perception is. Golf is the kind of sport where you have brother, and like again, my group, all black men. And some of us are well off, some of us are not. We have truck drivers, we have judges, we have lawyers, we have every aspect of people are in our club. And so therefore, you know, when you look at golf, you can say, listen, this is my sport now. It's not someone else's sport. That's what I look at.
No, I was just highlighting. For me, the reason why I did not play is because, like I said, I've had other things that I love it. I watch it, as a matter of fact. In fact, last year was pretty much a big highlight when, what's his name, right? So now, for me, I needed to be in a space like this to actually get that push and that confirmation that, oh, okay. For me, the perception is not, because, you know, I work hard, I'm successful. I don't have that perception. I'm saying when I communicate with people and within the community that I came from, that's the perception that they keep repeating.
I mean, everybody's not going to be on your level. Like, they don't know what your life is like in an investment bank. I used to be at a hedge fund, and when I try to explain that we got free lunch every day, people are like, what? Why don't you pack lunch and take home? I'm like, because it's going to be free, and it's going to be there every day. So why would I?
I used to sell Saab automobiles back when Saab was the luxury car before Lexus and Finney, all that kind of stuff. So, but my job was to greet the customer and sell them the car. They didn't know what I drove. So when you talk perception, you present yourself as if you belong, and now you belong. So I started playing golf from selling cars, and because it gave me a way to talk to my customer and break down the wall of silence that they wouldn't want to talk to another. But then once they saw that I knew what I was doing in that realm, now the doors open up from there. So there's your perception that you don't have to ever worry about again.
Who else wants to get in?
I think it's making the game friendly. I started by going out with white women, okay? And they weren't passionate, they were just starting out. Everybody was just starting out. We started at pitch and putt, and it was 9 holes, and we would go out, we would drink. It was social. So for us, you know, being social, starting out, and then you get serious. So we moved from there, and then we went to Marine Park and did the 18 holes. Some of the girls wouldn't do the 18 holes. My sister and I, that were the only 2 blacks with the Rockaway Women's League. Only 2 blacks for years. We played with them. She played 10 years, I played 9. We still play with them every summer. You know, but it's the perception. You talk about perception, you have to make it friendly for people to come in, for the young to come in, for women to come in. So it's not as, okay, everybody has to play, you have to play so well. No, it doesn't have to be that way. It's an introduction, you know, and that's the better way to bring people in. And you won't have that perception as much as you think you will.
I think that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the things that you're alluding to is the people in this room are very aware of the fact that you can, that golf is wonderful, and that, I mean, if you didn't believe that you can do whatever you want to do because you want to do it, you probably wouldn't be here on the, listening to the panel. I think the bigger question is, how do we get the people that are your friends, that are being, or our friends that are being held back to understand that idea en masse? So I kind of, in my head when I'm listening to everybody, I liken it to kind of the black hair care industry, where it was kind of like, okay, we have this little corner on the shelf right now, nobody's talking about us and nobody's giving us any shine. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh wait, there's a whole industry of people and women that like this and want this and that are good at this and whatever. And then all of a sudden now in Target, we've got like half the aisle, right? And golf is kind of like that too. So I think what you are alluding to is, how do we en masse get adults to understand, minority of color adults to understand the value of golf? Because at the end of the day, if the adults understand it, they will bring their children. Okay? The children's parents carried them 2 hours to the AAU basketball meet. Right? Because they felt, they were passionate about it. My kid Johnny is going to play football. So how do we get them to have that same passion around the game of golf?
It's passion, but I also feel like it's something I refer to like a social capital, right? Gianni being good at basketball, we can tell our friends, yo, he dunked, he scored 20 points in a game. That means something to his uncles, the people on the block. That means something to him and his friends, right?
Yeah.
Football, baseball to a certain extent, right? Like for something like golf, for a lot of people, doesn't have the same meaning. You know, he shot, 60 on the court. Like, what does that mean?
And they pay money for the golf balls, for the shoes.
But sometimes the challenge is finding the community that matters, and finding the club that you went to, right? Like finding like this group of people, like it matters in this room tremendously, right? And when you find that community, then you can find that home where it matters. Who else has a question or point? Go ahead.
Yeah, once again, thank you so much for putting this together, All Access Golf as well. Thank you. Back to the point about how to get people involved. I think it starts out, I'm from marketing, I do digital marketing and branding, but it starts out from just grabbing somebody and saying, hey, come, join me. Because as I said, I don't golf, but Kelly knows that I'm interested in golfing. So Kelly messaged me, he said, hey, you should come to this event. And then I came. And yes, I know you've had experience. A lot of people won't listen, but once in a while you start breaking those walls down for the people who come, they'll come. Same thing with the parents. It's about educating what is the benefits of golf to your children. Because we talk about they don't know what college to go to, or they haven't been to college, all those factors that my brother said. But you have to explain to the parents if they don't know what the benefit of networking or how to network. So first you have to educate them on that so they can tell the same thing to their children, or they'll get involved themselves.
And then there's even more scholarships. There's a lot of golf scholarships. Coaches call me every fall. Do you have any kid, please? I have these 10 scholarships. I want to give them to black kids. I can't get any black kids to apply. So they get all this free ride to college.
But the difficulty also is that, basketball, you don't need to pay anything to learn how to play basketball. You have basketball, you can play in a garbage can. But golf, you have to buy equipment. You have to go to a course. And very often it's difficult, even if you're passionate and you're trying to introduce people to it, it's a time problem and it's an expense problem. In January, a couple of guys and I, we went to Phoenix to take a 3-day course. While we were there was one of the golfers, one of the big name golfers, he had a tournament of youth golfers from all over the country, from all over the world. I saw white kids, I saw Asian kids, I may have seen one black kid. But not only the children, but their parents were there as well. And so that's a big expense. If you're coming from Korea, from London, from Florida, and you're going to Phoenix, that's big money to take the whole family there. So it's difficult to get kids involved in it because it's a very expensive thing to do. Unlike other sports where you can just go in the backyard, you can play stickball, baseball, basketball, and just have a pickup game. But golf is just so much more difficult. It's more than just passion. It's about economics as well to get kids to be able to be part of it.
I would disagree with you on that point because the way I do it, I play with milk containers in the streets. Milk container stuff in newspaper. And then I move to the foam balls. And I can take those foam balls and hit against the wall and catch it. and I can take that to any handball court. So it's a transition from the milk containers to the foam balls, and from there you can go to a.
That's how you practice the drive, or that's just the putting?
That's just no, not putting. I mean, I hit it hard and I catch it, so it might not come right back to me. I might have to jump for it or reach for it, but it's a little more active in that sense. So it's it's like so many handball courts around the country that kids can go take the club to and a mat or something like that so they don't mess it up. But hit that foam ball against the wall and catch it, and you can keep doing that. You know you're hitting straight, and from there you can just go to a golf course or to a driving range.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think the most important thing that we might be missing is the role of the pro. My business is we focus on the golf pro. Right? We believe that the golf pro is the most valuable asset on the golf course. Because if you don't learn how to play, you're not going to enjoy it. Right? The friends are not going to play with them. But if you spend a little bit of time and money and invest in that effort to play with the pro and learn what you need to do, the game is so much easier now. Because what you see on TV never translates on a real course. Right? And you can never learn to play on a golf course. You need to go to the range, you need to spend that time, you spend those hours, as you said, practicing. So you have that skill set, and then you go out there and attack. But a pro makes a difference in the world.
I agree with what he said, but for you, the main thing is to go out and have a good time. Like the young lady said here, just go out and have a good time.
No, I think she hit it on the spot.
Yeah, my first time playing, I couldn't hit the ball. Just like he said, I couldn't hit the ball. But I had a good friend of mine, and he played. And he told me, come on, let's go to a tournament. I said, you gotta be crazy. I'm not going anywhere I can't play. You telling me to go. So I went on a tournament, I had a great time. I shot a 70 on the front. And then I shot another 60 on the back. And I did that for 3 rounds. For 3 rounds I did that, which is terrible. But I had this time of my life. And ever since then, I've been hooked. So it's just a matter of, what I do is I take my sons, because they're a little older, they're like 20, 25. I take them with me, I say, come on, let's go. They can't hit the ball, they don't know what they're doing, but let them do whatever they're gonna do. You don't want to slow off the course. Go to a par 3. Just let them hit the ball. Let them go, take them to the range, just let them hit the ball. You get that 1 good hit, that 2 good hit, and you think to yourself, oh, I got it. That's when you get, just enjoy yourself. Make it enjoyable. Go to lunch.
Perfect. It can be expensive. One of the things you would have to do is, because we may not really track how much money we spend on other things, but if you can get one kid really interested in the sport, it's amazing how much that kid may want to compromise one for golf. Now, we had gone to Myrtle Beach on vacation, and I knew there were a lot of opportunities for golfing in Myrtle Beach. So what I did was for the first time, I invited all of our nieces and nephews, including my son, to get like a 3-hour instruction from a coach, from a pro down there. Everyone wanted to do it. Well, everyone didn't pay, so I had it for $150. And we knew that this would take up 3 hours of their time, so they'll wake up early and they'll go. But the guy was so great. Now, I knew, I could tell you, some of them probably, this would be the only time they picked up a club, but give them that exposure. You never know what clicks, and that was my only goal. Let's give them the exposure, let them have 3 hours of fun. It was a nice hot day. The guy's got all kinds of gadgets on the range. Then he records you, we walk into a shed, he's got a video, he explains everything. They have the time of their lives. Now I know there are a couple living in Florida who continues, they want to learn. They're going to learn the game. In order to get onto the golf course, there's so much that you have to do that could be fun, that keeps you interested. Going on the range, it's a lot cheaper to go on the range. 3 people can use 1 set of clubs. It's nice if people can just donate to these kids or have a program. High school, Obviously, they're thinking, well, the course isn't right around in the back of the school, so therefore maybe that's not a program. All high schools don't really have golf programs, all local high schools. And that's where I think it's a perfect place to start. But then you get a bucket of balls, a number of kids can have a feel for what golf is. But everyone is right. You've got to get some instruction. Let them really understand the mechanics of it. Maybe not everything in one day, but give them a feel for it. And then you can always go back on your own and if you're interested. But it's the exposure that is so important. Just a little feel for it. Because you overcome a lot of, perceptions of what the real thing is.
Do you play golf?
I do not.
Talk to us.
My exposure to it has been minimal. I'm a tennis player. I grew up in a black tennis club in Boston. I live not too far from Randolph.
Okay.
Not too far from Rhode Island. And what I saw was my father running around after a tennis ball.
Sure.
So I'm like, well, that's what I do. And he got us into playing tournaments from when I was 10. And trying to go to college doing that. So that has always been our. I met Arthur Ashe when I was a kid. Talked to Serena and her mom before. So
Sure.
I've written for Tennis Magazine. I've been on the. I feel like I'm actually a Crip, you bloods. No. So I have great respect for it and follow it and watch it and but this is I'm playing tennis with him. I don't know why I had to out me like that. Hold on, you does anybody have any questions not about me? What you got?
Oh, yeah. Come on, Kev, what you got? Shooting at 157.
So one of the funny things I played with Travis over the weekend, right? And so here's the thing with golf, right? It's funny that Travis said something because he texted me. He was like, "Yo, stop running on color people time." Right? So the thing is, I responded and I was like, I'm 3 minutes early, right? But with golf, that's actually late.
Tee times, 11:30,
Yeah.
11:28.
Holes in the end.
So with that said, that's actually I really found that interesting because here I am, black dude, you feel me, millennial. And we could crack jokes like that, and that's something I appreciated. And even though you was kind of chucking me, right? That's good, right? And that's another thing that you could get while playing golf. So yeah, this guy's a character. Yeah, serious character. Yeah.
We're worried about all the positives that comes from playing golf as far as youngsters are concerned. I have a young man that's a principal in a junior high school in Brownsville, and he knows that I tried playing golf and has asked me to try and do something with some of the students at the school. I don't feel comfortable. A lot of times we talk about if we begin wrong, you end up wrong. And I would like to get some help, if possible, to talk with him and get some people that are qualified at playing golf to set up something, develop something along golf with him. A friend of mine who was very good at instructing and whatnot, who had decided to do this with me, he passed away last month, and so it's unfortunate that he can't be with us. But I would like to talk with somebody in terms of getting equipment, in terms of finding a venue. And I know that out at Jacket Beach there's a six-hole golf course that is built mainly for youth, out there and just try and take advantage of the things that are out there. But I think it's been very good and very important that we start young and we develop these youngsters that are interested. And the principal is interested in something that he wanted to do. So if there's anyone that can talk with me or help me along the lines, I certainly would appreciate it.
So, you mentioned Brownsville, right?
Brownsville.
Yeah, I'm from Brownsville, so like we could definitely talk after. Yeah.
Do you know Greg Jackson?
Greg Jackson, yeah.
His son,
Actually, yeah, 284.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His son is interested in the.
Yeah, he got the glasses. Yeah. No. He really does wear glasses though.
That's 298. So that's 298. That's 298.
You'll have glasses someday too.
He's over there by the fire station on Pickett Avenue. You know where the fire station is?
Got you. Yeah. You're right.
So that's just how to check your Brooklyn out.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah, sure.
Can each of you talk a little bit more about your organizations and what they do? Because you have the digest and you have the foundation and anything coming up in the community, and just what do you do?
It's great.
Do you want to start left, right? I want to start. So, well, I have two organizations. The first is Finer Life Golf. I established that in 2008. And the goal is to bring golf to the inner city children and give them exposure to the game. However, one of the bigger challenges is pipeline. So any program that you start, you have to be able to sustain it and ensure that the kids can grow in the game. So I give them the introduction to what I've been working with. And honestly, probably it might be a good conversation to have here. The goal is to get them interested and be able to identify the students that would be interested beyond that moment of what we've exposed them, and that have the skill, and direct them to the programs that can take them to the next level, but then also give them the support network that they need to keep going in the game. So ensuring that through our 501c3 that we're able to get them the equipment and the things that they need so that they can grow in the game. Because the challenge is, you can have talent, I can send you to the first tee, but if I'm not following up, your mother may not, and the kids may not be able to do that on their own. So sustainability is important. And even like as you set up a program in the school, what happens beyond that moment, they need to practice a lot, they need to stay in the game, and it's about the communities like this that can help them. So I've also been with the nonprofit, working with a gentleman that used to teach at City Parks to establish how can we create programs that can train groups like yours, the UBGA, to grow their programs to keep the kids in the game and give you the program so that you can nurture them in the game, because they need the connected, they need to be connected to other golfers that can grow them, because if their parents are not golfing, they need the community. They need like a community like this, because they're not going to just call their friends like we do. So they need us. And so that's one of the programs I'm working on right now. Separately, I have a corporation to teach professional development and networking, so the art of using golf for business. And really I call it how to close deals on the course, but it's more so how to use golf for your professional career and advancement. And I focus on corporations and working with them to introduce the people, because the one-on-one wasn't working, like being able to talk. Like I can introduce people one-on-one, but what I found was from a corporate perspective, working with corporate organizations was a better way to introduce large groups of individuals to the game and give them a pathway to success and how to leverage it. No, I don't need you to love golf. You will fall in love with it, I assume so, but the reality is, how do you use it as a tool so that you can strategically attend these different types of tournaments and events? Because we count ourselves out. We want to be the most excellent golfer. We don't go to the tournament. And so I founded that company with under the premise or the assumption that just knowing enough about the game to get onto the course with your peers and be, humble about that is where the option and the value is. And so in my career, I started off as a technologist and a hedge fund. Well, I started off in a manufacturing company, but I've always been a technologist in finance, and I worked at hedge funds like Goldman Sachs and all these different places. And when you're in the technology space, you don't really interact with people, but the common language I shared with the front office people was that I played golf, and they were always so shocked. And it allowed me to have conversations that my peers never could have, to the point where I got invited to play with people that they never even spoke to. Like, these same people walked by everyone in the cafeteria. And so my goal was to share that, and that's what I do.
The NNGA is called the National Negro Golf Association. That's an association that was formed in 1965. 12 men, friends from around the country, wanted to get together and just have some fun, get away and play some golf. Of that 12, we have about 160 members, 7 chapters at this point. And the primary goal of it, like I said, was to have fun with each other and just go out and play. But as newer members have come on board, such as myself, I've only been involved for the last 10 years, 8 years actually. We're now trying to get to the point where we're reaching back to younger golfers. There's something called the Bill Dickey Foundation. He was a member of the NNGA. And that is a foundation that's dedicated to helping grow the game within the minority community. So part of the things that we want to do is to officially network with them, officially give them funds to help them in their mission of helping bring together young golfers, introduce them to the game. Some of the golfers that you see, the young kids that are in college now, some of them have gone through that program. And so what we're trying to do at this juncture is to just reach back to some of these young golfers and expose the game to them so that way they can see this as an avenue, whether it's just purely social, business, or whatever the reason might be. Introduce them to golf because it's a fun thing to do.
Yes.
I'm the Burt Cook. I publish the African American Golfers Digest, and next month we'll be celebrating 17 years. Publication comes out quarterly. We do have a digital edition. The young people are gravitating toward our digital like crazy. We still put out a print for the older golfers who refuse to put their phone in. So we do it quarterly. It's subscription only. You won't find it on the newsstands. That's how we've been able to stay in the business. It's expensive to put a magazine on the newsstand, and plus you get just a lot of curiosity seekers ripping through the magazine. You got to pay for it, come back and deliver it. So we just do subscription only. If you want the magazine, I know you're interested because you're going to pay for it. The subscriptions are digital. It's $12 a year. The print, I raised the print from $18 to $48 for 1 year. People are still buying it. These seniors like me. Then for 2 years, it's $79. People are still buying it. So as long as they're buying it, I'm going to print it. And we're a PGA of America diverse supplier. We usually do the PGA show every year. We do trips around the world. I've got the flyers here, but we've got 6 international trips this year. Dubai, Morocco, India, Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Ghana, and 2 trips to Ghana this year. One is going to Afrochella for the young people. And we play golf all around the world, and our trips are affordable. We have a payment plan. Over half of the people who come with me on my trips, like 60 people coming to Morocco, half of them are non-golfers, or spouses, friends, or people that are just looking for a nice group to travel with, like the National Black Skiers. You know, they don't golf, but they come and they want to play and have a good time. So that's the magazine side, and again, celebrating 17 years, and I appreciate the support of all the organizations here that have been with me, Kelly, you included.
Beautiful. So I think it's been an awesome forum. I think we've gotten to know each other as a family. Those of us who came to love golf, been playing all your life, brand new to golf, but now you're gonna love it. While we've been sitting here, I've been debating one thing, if I should tell this joke that I have about golf. I know some of the grown folks have probably heard it, but we have millennials in the house, so they may have not heard it yet. You know, anytime you tell a joke, it's a risk, but you know, I think we're family now, right? We can sort of take a risk together. Marine's like, what you about to say? So Superman goes out to play golf with somebody who's never played golf before, and he's Superman, so he steps up to the first tee and he whacks the ball and it goes up a perfect arc. And it lands on the green real strong, but then it slows down and it goes right into the hole. He's Superman. So his partner steps up, says, I've never played golf before, but I think I could do this. So he hits the ball, but it's not a really good shot, and it sort of flies off in the wrong direction. But a hawk comes out of nowhere and knocks the ball, but then it goes off into the drink, into the water, but then a snake nudges it, it goes up onto the green, and then a perfect wind comes and blows the ball, and it goes
right into the hole. And Superman looks at his partner and he says, Jesus, are we gonna play some golf or are you gonna keep fucking around? So that's our show. Thank you so much for coming out.
I do have one thing. I have a podcast. I forgot to say that. And it's on Anchor, it's on Spotify. And actually, he's going to be a guest on this week because I did an episode of Black History Month. So all actors thought would be a guest. Subscribe and tune in. It'll be released this week.
Well, thank you guys.
Oh, Tease Me. Teesme.
Oh, nice name.
So if you guys are still like if you guys still want to talk, like there is a PowerPoint presentation that talks about like the history of golf. I know you guys have been just really connecting, so I don't know, like I guess like what the vibe is, so I'm guessing I'll just jump and do like the PowerPoint presentation. All right? Cool. All right.
So we're gonna learn today?
Yeah.
Where are you projecting? Should we?
Yeah.
We should move.
Well,